What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you once again. SRL Round 2, Season 8 here in Australia on the PlayStation platform F1 22 from EA Sports. Getting ready to do Round 2 at Australia, where we're going to do an 18-minute short qualifying session followed by a 50% race. Waiting for a few more drivers to join in, and if you're joining us, let's recap what happened last race in round 1, where Logan Aron took the first pole position of the season, followed by his win. Luke Smith came in second. Max Mulder had a great drive to third. Fourth and fifth was Ivan Brito and Christian Dorman. Jesper Lempinen finished sixth. George Wilkes had a good run to 7th. Dion Stahl was 8th. Sandro Dulius had an abysmal race after a great qualifying session, finished 9th. Robin Herderstegen rounded out your top 10 points paying positions. Matteo came in 11th, and Nicolo Falzaresi came in 12th. It was a bad day for Alfa Romeo. Nick Van Gelder, way out of championship form, finished 13th. Senna was 14th, and then 15 through 17 was all DNFs. That was Guillermo Garcia, Jeremy Pope, and Vincenzo, all with their first DNFs of the season. And then last week we had a test session to check the connections, basically. Run a couple tests, see how things worked with the crossplay on versus off. And after running those test races with different types of connections, there was the decision was made by the league to disable crossplay, which was a very unpopular decision for some of the drivers, and we ended up losing ultimately 2 of the drivers, Jo Marusic for Red Bull Racing and Theo Stels, who were the only 2 players technically that were on PC, but with crossplay disabled, they won't be participating. So Jo Marusic has not been replaced yet at Red Bull, and Theo Stels has decided to leave the league altogether for the time being. So let's take a look at the driver lineup for today. Sandro Dulius is in the Ferrari. I'm trying to get my notes here, and I don't know who CP0 is. AlphaTauri, that might be Aleski. He possibly changed his screen name. I believe that's Aleski. Senna is going to be in the Aston Martin. Jesper Lempinen is in the other Red Bull. Former SRL champion Tim Ventic will be rocking the other Red Bull today. Robin Herderstegen, the McLaren. Logan Aron in the Haas. George Pudding, a.k.a. George Wilkes, is going to be in the Mercedes Petronas AMG. Jeremy Pope, the other American, will be driving in the Alpine. Christian Dorman in the Williams. Vincenzo in the Alfa Romeo. Nick Van Gelder, your Season 4 champion, is in the Red Bull. This is Nicolo, I should say. Last year's winner at Jeddah. Dion Stahl in the Ferrari. Guillermo is going to be in the other Alpine. And it looks like we're getting ready to roll for this 18-minute short qualifying session, followed by a 50% race. Looks like we've got 15 drivers on tap, 14 drivers on tap for today. So good old Australia. Used to be the opening round of the Formula One Championship back in the day. That's since been moved to Bahrain, and now Australia is now round 2. So we wait for this game to load. Not sure we've got any weather expected for today, but right now looks like it's all clear as we start this 18-minute short qualifying session. 15 drivers on tap. And we'll try to get some information up here. There we go. Here's what we want. Lap data. I hear the cars firing up. Going to see who's going to be the first one out on track. Now, Logan Aron, the American out of Pennsylvania, kicked off last week with his pole position, backed up with a win. Luke Smith, who's a reserve driver, started all the way in the back of the field, and he ended up finishing second. And it looks like we've got, that's going to be Oleski, I'm pretty sure, heading out on track. So Oleski will be the first one to start a timed lap once he comes around. It looks like he's already hard on the gas trying to get this car around track. Right along with him down the backstretch to this very tricky left-right chicane. A lot of time lost and won there. And yes, Guillermo Garcia does have a qualifying ban for today's race, an incident that occurred in round 1. And Oleski coming towards the end of this track, so we are going to ride along with him on his first hot lap as he comes out of the final turn down the front straightaway, opens the DRS. And down into turn 1. And then he'll make his way down towards Sports Center at turn 3. Just a little bit of curb coming out of that corner, sweeping right-hander. Car looks a little twitchy, but still in control. And then down the back, arching straightaway, and he's going to come to that, again, that quick left-right exchange. He's coming up on a slower car. Hopefully it doesn't impede his progress at all. Yellow flags fly in sector 1. Car gets out of his way. That might have thrown him off a little bit. Cars weren't necessarily in his way, but whenever you come up on traffic, you can definitely throw up your rhythm a little bit. Whoa, and there's a car in the middle of the track. So he's going to set a time of 1:18.687, but there was a car in the middle of the track, right in the racing line. And you see Mateo goes 1:18.606. So we'll pick up Christian Dorman. Oh, and a Ferrari swings across his front nose. Not sure if that was Dion Stahl or Sandro Dulius. It might have been Sandro. He's on a current outlap. Dion looks like he's on an outlap as well, so it could have been either one. And you see Guillermo has gone 1:17.823, but Guillermo has a qualifying ban, so that is not good news for him. George Wilkes goes second fastest, 1:18.602. Christian Dorman, 1:19.461. We'll pick up Jeremy Pope. Looks like Jeremy is slow on track, so he's not on a hot lap. We'll pick up Dion Stahl in the Ferrari. And it looks like we've got a crashed car. That's one of the AlphaTauris. And that was Jesper Lempinen, and his time is a 1:48.62 was his timed lap, which was obviously not a hot lap, but he has since crashed, and that will probably put him dead last. As we continue to watch Dion Stahl make his way around this track. And I'm trying to see if maybe we can get some clarification on what's going to happen to Guillermo. He's gone 1:17.8 provisional pole time. However, Guillermo's got a qualifying ban, and I don't know how they'll fix that situation and rectify it before the race. Dion Stahl goes 5th quickest unofficially, 1:19.197. So Aleski set the first time at a 1:18.687, and even though that car was in the middle of the track, it didn't seem to impede his progress at all, but it definitely threw him off. We'll pick up Robin Herderstagen in the McLaren. And I'm trying to think, since we've got a lot going on, but the easiest thing to do in order to rectify the situation, I don't know. Can you kick Guillermo and have him rejoin the lobby and his time become null and void and he starts at the back? Or we would have to do a custom grid possibly. Going to be some discussion after the race, I'm sure, on this situation. Guillermo, I'm pretty sure, was informed. I mean, I know he was informed after the first round that he had a qualifying ban. And I'm sure that he was informed personally before the race as a reminder, hey, you have a qualifying ban. Robin Herderstagen comes across the line, 1:21.443, 8th quickest. And we are going to pick up Logan Arand, who's yet to set a time, currently on an out lap. Last week's winner. Picking up his first win of the season. And he is he's definitely the front runner right now for the championship contention without Jensen Randall being in the league anymore. Logan Arand is the next fastest driver, contended for wins last year. He's got 8 career wins to his credit here at SRL. He's got multiple championships in other leagues. He had won an F1 title in the International Racing Series. He was a contender in the International Racing League in IRL. We're going to ride on board with Logan Arand as he heads down towards turn 1 and 2. And he's going to head down towards turn 3, the Sports Center complex, the site of so many crashes over the years. Fernando Alonso, Jacques Villeneuve, Gerhard Berger, all had massive crashes at turn 3. Not Gerhard Berger, Martin Brundle in his Jordan when it split in half in like 96. Jacques Villeneuve had his massive crash in like 98, 2001. Down the back straightaway. Very good through that complex. He's got the DRS open coming down this backstretch. Get a little bit of a slipstream off of that Red Bull. Logan Arand coming across the line. 1:17.547, provisional pole position for the American. That is 0.3 of a second quicker than Guillermo, whose time is going to be essentially null and void. He's got a qualifying ban. And perhaps I need to make sure that that is in fact Guillermo's Yep, Guillermo Garcia. GS Chuli. That is Guillermo. You guys can see in the comments in the live chat he's supposed to have a qualifying ban for today's race. And as you can tell, he has not abided by that, so that is going to be a penalty on top of a penalty, and not sure what he'll be looking at as far as a further penalty in this situation, but Now, SRL, even when you have a qualifying ban, we do allow you to set the car up. They do allow you to do an installation lap, if you will, where you will leave the pits. You can drive around the track and then back into the pits. You are not allowed to set a timed lap. And even if you do set a timed lap, it is going to be very frowned upon if you set a competitive timed lap. If he happened to set a timed lap that was 2 minutes long, maybe not as bad as, you know, running for provisional pole. So it looks like he's gone off track there. So, but let's talk about some of the other drivers. See, Sandro Dulius has gone 117.959. That's good for fourth. Nick Van Gelder 118.320 for fifth, and Tim Fentic. It looks like we've got a car around. Not sure who that is. Tim Fentic, former series champion. Season 6, I want to say. Could have been season 5. Can't remember. George Wilkes has gone 7th. Mateo has... That's not Mateo. Yeah, that's Mateo. No, Nicolo. That's Nicolo. And the Alfa Romeo has gone 8th quickest. Dion Stahl has gone 9th. Vincenzo sets a time at 1:19.278 for 10th. The only driver that's yet to set a time is Senna Haywire. Right along with Vincenzo, see if he's got anything left in the tank. 6 minutes left to play in this session. Oh, and he's going to cut the track, so he's clearly not on a hot lap right now. Pick up Christian Dorman. Looks like he's invalidated his lap time according to the track map, so he's off the pace. See if we can pick up Jeremy Pope. He's invalidated his lap time as well, so... That's Tim Fentic in the pits. Pick up George Wilkes. It looks like he's on a flyer. Man, Wilkes looked like he was trimming some of the grass there on the shoulder. He's getting down to the frickin' grass. Both sides, swings it wide. Didn't give himself a very good arc. DRS open. Whoa, and he loses the back end. He was on a fairly good lap, but that is going to ruin that for sure. And we'll pick up Oleski. Oleski back out on track. And we are getting official word from SRL. As you can see in the live chat, he has a qualifying ban. He set a time, and he is going to be disqualified from the event. That is bad news for him. And it looks like Jeremy Pope has retired from the session. His official time will be a 1:35.268. Senna Haywire looks like he's retired without setting a time, so he will start last. And Oleski is going to head into the pits, so we'll pick up Nicolo as he heads into the pits as well. So, a lot of guys in the pits. We're going to pick up Logan Arond, and he is on an out lap. We're going to see a lot of guys are switching over to make a one last ditch effort at a pole position. Provisional pole, currently Logan Arond, the driver we're watching right now, 1:17.547, currently on an out lap. And let's ride along with Arond as he heads down the front straightaway into turn 1-2. Can he improve his time? Comes out of turn 2 down towards turn 3, the Sports Center complex. Keeps it nice and tidy. You want to come through here, this right-hander. Not too much curbing on the exit. Yellow flag in sector 2. Oh, and there's a car off the pace, way out of the way. And looks like Alfa Romeo's got some fans in the stands cheering on Alfa Romeo and Nicolo. Logan trying to get that power down. Doesn't look like he's improved his time that I can tell on the track map. Ooh, very squirrely coming out of that last corner, and he's going to come across the line, and it doesn't look like, yes, no! He does not improve his time. And Guillermo, well, Guillermo has been disqualified from this event. Not sure why he's still on track. We'll pick up Oleski. He's gone third quickest. So I'm going to assume Oleski was on. Looks like he was on a flyer of an out lap. Looks like we've got a slow car in sector 2. This is actually, Oleski's actually coming up on that slower car. Oleski's 0.2 up on his previous time. Oh, and he's he's invalidated his lap time. That's too bad for him. And pick up Vincenzo, not Vincenzo, Nicolo, Alfa Romeo, right along with him. Nicolo, Nick. Nah, we already got a Nick. And Vincenzo just retired from the session. His time's locked in at a 1:19.013. Currently good enough for 10th quickest, which is essentially going to be 9th fastest because Guillermo's been disqualified from this event. Ooh, Nicolo trying to keep it in the high gear there, and time is up. Hot laps will count. Logan Aron, provisional pole sitter, 1:17.547. Here comes Nicolo. Has he got anything in for Logan Aron? He does not. 5th quickest. Excuse me. Nick Van Gelder. You can see how different the sound is. Nick's 1/10 of a second up on his time. Looks like we've got a car around coming out of that left-right complex. Excuse me, my throat is bothering me. Van Gelder into the final corner here. Has he got anything? Can he improve his time? Big twitch, and around goes Van Gelder. So that is going to do it for him, and Tim Ventic is off the pace, so he is going to be done. Pick up Sandro. Sandro's off in the grass. He's done. Anybody still on a flyer? Dion Stahl slowly creeping across the line. So that's going to be it for qualifying. A little bit of a mess there at the end. So Logan Aron, back-to-back pole positions from round 1, round 2. Doesn't look like he's going to have much of a challenge, I don't think, based on some of the other times, but tire strategy and weather could be a factor. So Logan Aron will be starting on the pole position. Guillermo Garcia has been disqualified from the event. That will move everybody up a spot. Oleski will be starting second. Sandro Dulius will be third. Nicola will be fourth. Nick Van Gelder is going to be fifth. Tim Ventic is sixth. George Wilkes is seventh. Christian Dorman is eighth. Vincenzo is ninth. Dion Stahl will be starting in the 10th position. Robin Herdestegen will be 11th. Jeremy Pope will be 12th. And Jesper Lempinen will be starting in the 13th position. And Center Hayware will be starting in the 14th and final position. So I am not sure how this is going to play out with Guillermo Garcia, who has essentially been disqualified from this event. He is still in the lobby. I'm sure he's been told that he's been disqualified at this point. This should not be news to him, so we'll see how this plays out. This could go south really quick. We'll see how mature Guillermo is when when this race starts. So round 2, Australia, going to do a 50% race. I believe that's 29 laps. So round 2, Australia. And we see Senna is on the live chat as well. Alfa Romeo's definitely got some people showing up. We got fans for Alfa Romeo, Forza Alfa Romeo, cheering on Nico. That's a good name. I'll call him Nico from now on. So Logan Aron with his second pole position of the season, going to be looking to back that up with a second win. Guillermo Garcia in the Alpine, or Alpine as I like to call it, has been disqualified from this event. Oleski will be starting behind Logan Aron. Can he challenge him for the win? Sandro Dulius with another good qualifying effort. He had a good qualifying effort last week, but an abysmal race where he came in 9th. Let's see what he can do today. Nico will be starting in the 4th position in the Alfa Romeo. Good on him. Season 4 champion Nick Van Gelder in the Red Bull, followed by his interim teammate Tim Ventic, as Jim Marusic was one of the drivers that will not be participating this year, as we talked about earlier. George Wilkes had a good run last week to the 7th position. See if he can back that up, put some more points on the board for Mercedes. Christian Dorman had a great run last week where he finished 5th. He had crashed early on lap 1, switched over to hard tires, ran them all the way to the end, and ended up coming home with a 5th place finish. Vincenzo, who had a DNF last week, and be looking to make up for that as he starts in the 10th position. Dion Stahl in the other Ferrari. Then we've got Robin Herdestegen in the McLaren, the lone McLaren today. Be looking to make his way. He finished 10th last week. Be looking to put more points on the board. Jeremy Pope, the other American in the grid today, also from Pennsylvania, coincidentally. He'll be looking to try and put some points on the board. He's only got a few races under his belt as far as the SRL championship goes, but he does have an IRL GT3 championship on Gran Turismo. He's been a force to be reckoned with in SRL's GT3 championship on Project Cars 2. He's a very good sports car driver, trying to make his way into Formula 1. And Jesper Lempinen will be starting in the 14th position. And rounding out your 14/15 because of Guillermo will be Senna Hayware, who finished 14th last week, and that is where he will be starting today. And Christian Dorman, oh, this is just from the, this is because the game's goofy. So we'll wait for the game to reset. And these, here we go, 5 red lights. Lights out, time to run what you brung. They're away in a puff of smoke, and I've got nothing but crappy camera angles. There we go, we'll just jump on board with Nick Van Gelder down into turn 1, and it looks like Sandro Dulius is going to get to the inside of him. Looks like we've got a debacle going on in the back. And Guillermo is looking to, I don't even know where I am. Guillermo takes the lead of this race. And around goes Sandro. That was Sandro in the Ferrari, and he's caused a massive crash. Looks like both Red Bulls were involved. Looks like that's Nick Van Gelder is parked with him on the side. So those two will get going again. And Guillermo Garcia leads this race. He's been disqualified from this event, so that makes Logan Arand essentially the leader of this race. He's followed by Aleski in the AlphaTauri. That means Nico is up to third and looking at a podium spot. So this is very interesting because Guillermo, I'm sure, has been notified about his bans. He's really just making things worse for himself as this continues. He had a qualifying ban because of an incident in round 1 where he had a DNF, so the only penalty that could be given, unfortunately there's no time penalty to be given when you have a DNF, he was given the qualifying ban. He set a time in qualifying, not good, that disqualified him from the event, yet he's still here leading this race, so it's not looking good for him after this race. Not sure what the stewards will do, but Logan Arand is going to be essentially the leader of this race, followed by Aleski in the AlphaTauri. Nico running in third. George Wilkes running in fourth, followed by Dion Stahl. Great start for Dion. He started in the unofficially the 11th position, moves his way up to 6th. Robin Herterstagen is in 7th, but he has got Jesper Lempinen all over the back of him. Jesper dives to the inside, going to try and take that line away. Jesper with a great move down the back straightaway, and here comes Vincenzo trying to make a move on Robin Herterstagen as well. And we're going to be coming to lap 3 where the DRS will be enabled. And it looks like we've got a little bit of a battle going on. We've got a yellow flag, sector 3. What is going on there? That's Logan DNF. Oh my. And you see Logan's car there on the front straightaway. Looks like he has crashed. And in the midst of that, Guillermo has dropped from the lead of this race down to 4th. I don't see any damage on his car. We've got yellow flags in all 3 sectors. I would imagine that the safety car would have to come out, or the virtual safety car. I don't see a notification for either one of those things. Guillermo, I don't see any damage on Guillermo's car, but I do find it a little weird that he's dropped all the way to 4th position. I wonder if he had anything to do with Logan's crash. So that is unfortunate for for Logan Arand. Kind of a crazy race today. Not sure what's going on. Looks like we're under possibly the virtual safety car. Got yellow flags in all 3 sectors because of Logan Arand's crash. Logan has officially left the session, and man, this is crazy. So are we back to racing? It doesn't look like we're back to racing. Let's hop on board. Yeah, so he's definitely not... Oh, there is a safety car. So we finally see the safety car. Well, that is an absolute shame for Logan Arand. I wish I would have caught what was going on. I was actually getting ready to switch to that battle because Aleski was closing the gap. He was in 0.3 of a second. The last time I looked, and then as I was trying to change to Logan, DNF. I don't know if Guillermo had anything to do with that. I'm not trying to blame Guillermo for anything, but I find it suspicious that he was leading this race unofficially, and now he is down in the 4th position. Logan has crashed, and Guillermo's not supposed to be here to begin with. This is just really turning into a messy race. So safety car is out. We did see somebody make a couple pit stops. Let's see if we can get the details on that. Yeah, it looks like Jesper, Sandro, Nick, Tim, and Christian. They've all made, looks like Christian and Tim have made extra pit stops, possibly for an opening lap incident. We know Sandro and Nick had their incident. So they all made stops. That moves Senna and Jeremy Pope into the points. So we've got Oleski leading this race, followed by Nico, followed by George Wilkes. Guillermo is disqualified from this event, so Dion Stahl is currently running in the 4th position. Robin Herderstegen is 6th. Vincenzo is 7th. Senna is 8th. Jeremy Pope is 9th. Jesper Lempinen is 10th. Sandro Julius is 11th. Nick Van Gelder 12th. Tim Ventic is 13th, and Christian Dorman be bringing up the rear. So this is really interesting the way this race has unfolded so far. Obviously, we've had our issues with Guillermo. We're not 100% sure what's going on there. We do know that he's been disqualified from this event. But if you take a look at the running order, you've got Sandro Julius, who had his incident on the opening lap. He's the all-time points leader in SRL history. He's scored more points than any other driver in SRL history. Has no championship to his credit, unfortunately. He's in 11th. Then you've got Nick Van Gelder, who's a Season 4 champion, running in the 12th position. You have Tim Ventic, who's a former series champion as well, running in 13th. So 3 high-caliber drivers, all with big mistakes so far, running in the back of this grid. So haven't gotten the notification that the safety car will be in this lap, and around goes Guillermo. He's supposed to be, he's not supposed to be here anymore anyway, so. And I think what we really need is Christian Dorman here to catch up to the pack. And Guillermo has lost his front wing, and he's retired from the session. Finally. My. So Christian Dorman, we need Christian Dorman to catch up to the pack so that the safety car will then be released and be able to go back to the pits. This is almost as bad as the actual safety car last race at Monza, where you want to get this race going again, and you just can't. Looks like Christian is actually finally catching up to the back of this pack. My. All right, so Christian Dorman finally catching up to the pack. So there we go. Christian Dorman catches up to the pack. Safety cars in this lap. That means Oleski will be the control car, followed by Nico, followed by George Wilkes, Dion Stahl, Robin Herderstegen, Vincenzo, Senna, Jeremy Pope, Jesper Lempinen, Sandro Julius, Nick Van Gelder, Tim Ventic, and Christian Dorman. So when does Oleski choose to go? Oh, he's got a good jump there. Nico's, and you can't pass before the start-finish line, so that's a good jump by Oleski. Caught Nico napping And now George Wilkes is going to try and make a move on Nico down into turn 1. Not close enough to make that work. He's going to get a slipstream down this short straightaway into turn 3, but I don't think he's going to, unless he wants to dive bomb him, he's not going to be close enough to make a move. And there you see Dion's under threat from Robin Herderstag in there in the back. Oh, no, and Herderstag into the wall, manages to save it. He was trying to make a move on Dion's stall. Dion is going to be able to scoot away. Meanwhile, Nico all over the back of Oleski's car. Alfa Romeo versus AlphaTauri. Now the DRS isn't enabled, but Nico's trying to use any little bit of slipstream that he can get off of that AlphaTauri. These guys are scooting away from George Wilkes, who's running in the 3rd position. And it looks like, oh no, that's Senna Haywire. He's gone around. Senna just dropped all the way to the back of this grid. He's down in the 13th position. And Nico runs the fastest lap at 1:22.342 race pace. And these two are pulling away from each other. The two Alpha cars, AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo, they're pulling away from George Wilkes. Wilkes is now 1.2 seconds behind this battle for the lead. Oh, and Nico is off the course there, cutting it close. Nico trying to find a way around the AlphaTauri of Oleski. Still not close enough to make a move. Looks like we've got Jesper Lempinen is closed in on the back of Jeremy Pope. We've got a 3-car battle. Jesper Lempinen is going to move up a position into the 5th spot over Jeremy Pope. Sandro Dulius and Vincenzo battling it out for the 8th position as we continue to watch this battle for the lead. Tim Ventic now up into the... Oh, no, it looks like we've had Jeremy Pope's gone around, unfortunately. And Sandro is going to move up into the 6th spot over Robin Herderstag, and Herderstag is now dropping through, and that's Vincenzo who's dropping through the field now. Herderstagen's into the pits. Vincenzo's dropped down to 11th. We've got a lot of stuff going on in the back of this pack. We continue to watch this battle for the lead. Now DRS is now enabled, so that's going to be an advantage for Nico as he's running in the 2nd spot, half a second behind Oleski. And, 3-second time penalty for Jesper Lempinen. So that's bad news for Jesper, who's currently running in the 4th position. The race ended now. He would actually lose a couple of spots, finish 6th. So here we go, this time by. This is where Nico is going to have when he cuts that corner, but he gets a great run coming out of that corner, even though he cut it a little bit. DRS is open. See if he can make a move. It's not going to be close enough. You can hear the tires screaming as he heads into that corner. Runs it a little wide there. Oleski's got a little bit of a cleaner line when Oleski runs a little wide coming out of there. DRS open, but look at that. Oleski able to pull the gap a little bit. And we've got Samuel Brandt on the live stream. Former Haas driver, longtime SRL competitor. Good to see him on the live stream as we continue to watch Nico. And Tim Ventic picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's running in the 6th position, so that was a couple of quality drivers there. Jesper Lempinen and Tim Ventic with time penalties. Let's see how that shakes out towards the end of this. Nico's still in hot pursuit, and around goes Nico! He manages to not hit anything, spins the car back around. He's going to be able to get it going. Where is George Wilkes? Here comes Wilkes. And Wilkes is going to come up on the back of Nico, and Wilkes is bringing a whole pack of cars with him. Wilkes dives to the inside He's able to get the pass done on Nico. Nico's going to try and come back that quick. Ooh, what a big twitch there by Wilkes in the Mercedes. And again, Nico's got the DRS. He's going to try and go around the outside, but he's not going to be able to make that work there. He's going to try a crossover move. Big twitch there by Nico. And going on behind them, we've got a 3-car battle, which is now becoming a 5-car battle for a position. This is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th all together. Sandro Julia is going to try and dive to the outside of Jesper Lempinen. Not going to be able to make that work. George Wilkes picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that's going to affect his finishing position. Nico's trying to move on him. Meanwhile, Nick Van Gelder gets by Sandro Julius. And he's going to try and get the 2-for-1 deal going down into the inside, but he's going to get pushed wide a little bit by Jesper Lempinen. Jesper's going to protect that spot. Wilkes trying to hang on to the 2nd position, but Nico's all over the back of him as we watch this 3-car battle. Ooh, and Nico's going to try and make the move through this arching back straightaway. Gets around Jesper Lempinen. Can he get to the inside? And Wilkes is trying to hang tough. And Nico makes the move on Wilkes for the 2nd spot. So Nico's back in the 2nd position. Cuts that corner big time. Wilkes is now back down into 3rd. That's allowed Nick Van Gelder to catch up in 4th. Jesper Lempinen in 5th. And Sandro Julius starting to fall off the back of this train is in 6th. But the 3 drivers in front of him all have 3-second time penalties. So Sandro, sitting in the catbird seat right now, could easily finish 3rd if the race ended right now. But still got about 17 laps to go in this race. You see that's Nick Van Gelder trying to make the move on Wilkes. Not close enough. He's going to be close enough coming out of the corner this time, though. DRS is open. Wilkes also has the DRS. Goes in deep. Almost outbraked himself. That opens the door a little bit. And the battle between Wilkes and Van Gelder has allowed Jesper Lempinen and Sandro Julius to catch back up to this battle. And Jesper picks up another 3-second time penalty. And you know what? This whole time I've been saying Nick Van Gelder. That's Tim Ventic. Shame on me. Getting my Red Bulls confused. I just happened to notice Sam was saying that he's happy to see Tim racing again. That is Tim Ventic running in the 4th position, not Nick Van Gelder. And whoa! Jesper almost rear ends him. Jesper runs wide, outbreaks himself. That allows Sandro to get by for the 5th position. Tim Ventic still trying to find a way around George Wilkes in the Mercedes. And Nico dives into the pits. So that's going to move Wilkes into 2nd with Tim Ventic, former series champion, into the 3rd spot. Tim Ventic on the medium tires, still trying to find a way around the Mercedes of George Wilkes, a.k.a. George Pudding. And Ventic is, these guys are pulling a gap now on Sandro Julius. Sandro about half a second behind this battle for the 2nd position. We're going to hit a pit stop cycle here. We saw Nico head into the pits. Here comes Ventic. He's going to have the DRS. He's going to get alongside Wilkes. There's a caution in Sector 3. And Ventic easily makes that move. And that caution is for possibly... Is that Jesper Lempinen that had an issue? Might have been Jesper that had an issue, but back to this battle, this 3-car battle now. So Wilkes didn't put up a whole lot of fight to Tim Ventic when Ventic had the DRS. But Wilkes and Sandro both have the DRS now. Sandro running that special edition Monza livery. Can probably be running that for the rest of the year. I do like that old school Ferrari logo on the rear wing. Takes me back to the 80s. Which is clearly the best decade known to man. And a 3-second time penalty for Tim Ventic. So Ventic, Wilkes, and Jesper Lempinen all have at least one time penalty to their credit. Actually, I think that's 2 for Ventic and 2 for Jesper. And Senna Hayward is going to pick up a 3-second time penalty. That's pretty much inconsequential as he runs in the 12th position. And it looks like we've got yellow flags all over the track. Is that going to bring out the safety car again? I don't know why we've got yellow flags, and it's a virtual safety car. I can see flashing on the screen there. Not sure why we had that, but Oleski's going to dive into the pits, take advantage of this. So he's going to swap off the hards for the mediums. Tim Ventic comes into the pits. Looks like Sandro Dulia stays out on track. He had to make a pit stop earlier for his lap 1 incident, so that's going to put Sandro into the lead of this race. Meanwhile, that moves Christian Dorman up into the 3rd position. Christian Dorman, again, having an interesting race. Had an incident earlier on like he did last week. Switched over to the hard tires. He's benefited from a safety car, now the virtual safety car, so that's going to help the longevity and the tire deg for the hard tires. And now we have Nick Van Gelder, the actual Nick Van Gelder, running in the 4th position, not to be confused with Tim Ventic in the other Red Bull, as I did earlier. We're back to green flag racing. Sandro Dulius is your leader, 2.5 seconds over Oleski. Christian Dorman running in the 3rd spot, all by his lonesome. Nick Van Gelder is in 4th, followed by his teammate for the day, Tim Ventic. And looks like Nico is making a pass on George Wilkes for the 6th position. Wilkes trying to come back on the outside. He is all over the back of Nico, and this is going to be a very tricky area to try and make a pass, and it's not going to work. Oh, Nico's going to pick up a 3-second time penalty. That's kind of been brewing for the last few laps. I've seen Nico cut at least one of those corners multiple times. So Nico trying to hold off George Wilkes and Jesper Lempinen in the other Alpha Tauri. Meanwhile, Robin Herterstegen is running all by his lonesome in the 9th position. He's 17 seconds behind this battle, and he's 2 seconds ahead of Vincenzo. And a 3-second time penalty for Christian Dorman now. And Nico, whoa! Wilkes went hard on the defense, kind of cut that corner. Nico's going to get a good run coming out of the corner, but they both got DRS. No, they don't both have DRS. I guess Wilkes was trying to make that move. Trying to keep up to speed on all the action going on around track. So Wilkes is in the 6th position, able to pull the gap on Nico just a little bit. And this is, well, actually, we've got a battle on track. It looks like the 2 Red Bulls. Looks like Tim Ventic has gotten around Nick Van Gelder for the 4th position. Van Gelder falls back to 5th, but Nick does not have a time penalty yet. And Oleski's just ran the fastest lap of this race, and he's actually closed the gap down to Sandro Dulius for the lead from 2.5 to 1.4 seconds. It looks like Tim Ventic has scooted away. George Wilkes just runs the fastest lap of this race at a 1:21.419. So good on Wilkes. And Wilkes is catching Nick Van Gelder for the 5th position. Ooh, and there's a little bit of contact there, it looks like. Wilkes cutting that corner. Got the power down a lot better. Looks like Wilkes' tires are a little bit better shape from softer mediums. Oh, and there's a lot of jockeying going on. Nick holding his line. Wilkes getting a little squirrely in the back, trying to find a way around the Red Bull. He's going to try and go wide. Goes around the outside, which becomes the inside. Here comes Nico. Nico's going to try and get in there as well. Ooh, and Nick is going to lose out on 2 positions in that exchange. Down to the 7th spot for Nick Van Gelder. We've got a yellow flag, Sector 3. Looks like that is... Is that one of the AlphaTauris? Is that Jesper? Yeah, it looks like it might have been Jesper Lempinen, but he's got 21-second gap to the next car behind him. And there's a battle for the lead. Can I get there in time? And another yellow flag, Sector 3. That is... Looks like that's going to be Vincenzo running in the 11th position as Oleski made the move on Sandro Dulius heading into turn 1. I was just able to catch the tail end of that. So Oleski leads this race and he's pulling a gap on Sandro Dulius. Meanwhile, Christian Dorman is under threat from Tim Ventic for the 3rd position. Tim showing shades of his former self, that championship season run that he had with McLaren a few years ago. And Nick Van Gelder picks up a time penalty, and now the race is official. It's not an SRL race unless Nick Van Gelder gets a time penalty. And look at the crossover move by Tim Ventic. Oh no, and Dorman, oh, he was having such a good run, pounds himself into the wall trying to get the power down. He's broken off the end plate on the left front of the wing. He's going to have to dive into the pits. Oh, and he was having such a good run there. So he's going to drop way back from 4th. He'll probably come out 7th. It looks like we've got a 3-car battle starting to heat up here. This is Nico, George Wilkes, and Nick Van Gelder. These guys have not really separated each other. Whoa, and around goes Wilkes! And I think he just reset himself to the track, and that is a no-no in SRL. You are not allowed to do that. Unless I had some amazing internet lag. I'm pretty sure he just reset himself to the track, and that is a... that is against the rules, so Wilkes will be possibly looking at a penalty at the end of this race. Senna Haywire picks up another 3-second time penalty. He's actually battling with Sandro. He's actually battling with Robin Herterstegen for the 8th position. Robin, one of the few drivers yet to get a time penalty. So even if Senna does happen to pass, actually it's Senna that's going to be holding off Jesper Lempinen. Yeah, he's closing in on Robin a little bit. It's a 3-car battle we got going on here. Herterstegen running in the 8th spot. Jesper trying to close in on Senna while Senna tries to close in on Robin Herterstegen. Whoa, and Senna cuts that corner there a little tight. Gets a good run coming out of the right-hander. He'll have the DRS as they head down the short chute. Senna going to try and make a move on Herterstegen as they headed to the right-hander. Whoa, and there's contact between Jesper and Senna. Woo, and Senna with a big wiggle. Jesper's going to make the move and get around him. Jesper heads down into the pit, so that's going to hand the position back to Senna. And Herterstegen is able to scoot away to the tune of 1.5 seconds. And Vincenzo is going to move into the 10th position because of Jesper being in the pits. What a crazy race. So that resets the running order a little bit. So Oleski is your leader. Sandro Dulius finally heading into the pits. He is going to switch over to... Looks like he's going to switch over to soft tires for the last little stint of this race. And we have Logan Arand on the live chat, and looks like my, well... It looks like my suspicions may be semi-accurate. I would like to see some footage, but yeah, I did notice that, yes, one, he is right. Guillermo was definitely, he ignored his qualifying ban. He ignored his disqualification from the round, and there was some suspicion as to whether or not he had any involvement in Logan's crash. So Logan, obviously the victim of the incident, stating that Guillermo did cause the crash, but we will wait to see what the stewards say after this race. So let's reset the running order. We've got Oleski out in front over Tim Ventic to the tune of 12 seconds. We've got Nico in the third position. Sandro Dulius is running in the fourth spot. George Wilkes in fifth. Nick Van Gelder is sixth. Christian Dorman, who had that incident a couple of laps ago, manages to come back out in the seventh position. Robin Herderstagen running in eighth. Senna, surprisingly, is running in ninth. Vincenzo is 10th. That is your top 10 points paying positions. But Vincenzo in danger of losing that points-paying spot. Here comes Dion Stahl in the other Ferrari. We've got ourselves a battle for 10th. Jeremy Pope and Jesper Lempinen will round out your 12th and 13th positions as we watch this battle for 10th. 7 laps remaining in this round here in the SRL Championship. And to the inside goes Dion Stahl. Vincenzo's going to try and hang tough on the outside. He's able to maintain that position. Meanwhile, while all of this is going down, Sandro Dulius has closed the gap down to Nico for the third position. Sandro also does not have a time penalty against him as of yet. And caution in Sector 3. Looks like that might be Jeremy Pope. And Dion, again, DRS open, swings to the outside, and he's gonna... Oh, look at the defense by Vincenzo, but it's not gonna work. Can they go side by side? Vincenzo runs wide a little bit. Dion with a big wiggle as he tries to get the power down, and that allows Vincenzo to maintain, but he had a bad run coming out of that corner. Woo, look at these two. But we're going to have to switch from this battle to Sandro Dulius for the third spot over Nico. Down the front straightaway. And Sandro's going to have the DRS plus the soft compound tires, and he's going to be able to easily make that move. And into the third position goes Sandro Dulius, and he will set his sights at a big wiggle, and around goes Nico. No, here comes George Wilkes, and there's a crash! Nico crashes, George Wilkes involved. Does Wilkes have damage? Wilkes has damage on his... No, surprisingly, the Mercedes. The Mercedes looks like it's built Ford tough. No damage done to the Mercedes. And Senna, looks like Senna Haywire has had an incident as well as he has crashed. And looks like maybe the safety car will be coming out. Senna and Nico both done. And we've got Jensen Randall with us on the live chat as well. Good to see him here. So somehow, man, that was crazy. Nico was having a really good run. And here we go. Oleski's going to dive into the pits. He's going to switch over to the soft tires. Tim Ventic's going to dive into the pits. Where is this going to cycle Sandro Dulius in this? And Jensen saying someone crashed out under the safety car. I believe that was Senna that had crashed out. So we started with 15 cars. We've got 11 remaining. And Sandro is going to cycle to the second position through all this. Oleski is still your leader. Tim Ventic will be third. Now, George Wilkes, surprisingly, even though he was involved with that crash with Nico, no damage done to the car. He switches over for a new set of softs. He's in fourth spot. Nick Van Gelder currently in the pits. And actually, I guess Wilkes is going to come out and retain his fourth position, and he'll be followed by Christian Dorman. Dorman, again, quietly finding his way well into the points. Nick Van Gelder will be behind him in the sixth spot. And Vincenzo. Is Vincenzo going to dive into the pits? Nope. Vincenzo's going to stay out. He's going to be 7th, followed by Robin Herterstegen in 8th. Dion Stahl will be 9th, and then Jeremy Pope looking to score his first points of the season. He's going to be 10th, but he's got... Jeremy's going to dive into the pits, so he'll switch over to a new set of softs. That'll make him 11th, so that's going to move up Jesper Lempinen to the 10th and final points-paying position. And when this is all said and done, we're going to have ourselves possibly a 4-lap shootout. This has been a fairly interesting race, all things considered. So, Oleski and Sandro Julius battling for the top spot. Neither one of them have a timing penalty there. Both have kept it very clean today. And then you've got Tim Ventic, George Wilkes, Christian Dorman, Nick Van Gelder, 3rd through 6th. Those 4 drivers all have multiple timing penalties. Depending on how they finish and what those timing penalties are, that could be shuffled very greatly. Vincenzo and Robin Herterstegen, Dion Stahl, no timing penalties there. And then Jesper Lempinen, he could lose out on that position depending on how many timing penalties he has and where Jeremy Pope's finishes behind him. So the grid could definitely be shooken up here as this race winds down. Will there be more time penalties to be handed out? Plus, we've had the obvious with we've had the obvious with Guillermo Garcia. Oh, and just as I said, he didn't have one. Jeremy Pope picks up a timing penalty, so... And then we have the obvious issue with Guillermo Garcia, who had a qualifying ban, decided to ignore that, set a time in qualifying. That essentially disqualified him from the event that he yet continued to participate in. And then obviously there is the accusations that he caused the wreck with the leader Logan Arond at the time. So... very, very interesting. Even though this race is going to finish, the results will be very unofficial until the stewards take a look at everything after this race, and it is going to be a mess. So we still don't have everybody in the bunch, so the safety car is going to do at least one more lap. Wish you could ride along inboard with the safety car. That would be fun. You can at least hear the safety car. That's pretty cool. So it looks like we're waiting on Jeremy Pope and Robin Herterstegen to close in on this gap. Robin Herterstegen's going to close in, looks like at the end of the turn 3 area. So Jeremy Pope's coming down the front straightaway now. We just need him to get caught up to the pack. So this will be a 4-lap shootout when this is all done, if they get caught up in time. Jeremy Pope should get caught up to this pack. Once he does, the safety car will be able to come back into this race, or come back into the pits, and we can restart this race. And Senna saying that he got brake checked as he was trying to head into the pits when the safety car came out. So that's an interesting incident. I'm sure there's a possibility he will report that to the stewards at the end of this race. And here we go. As soon as Jeremy Pope gets caught up, there it is. Safety car will be in this lap. So Oleski will become the control car. Now Sandro, given all of his Grand Prix, he's the all-time points leader in SRL. He doesn't have a championship to his name, but I gotta say, of Oleski and Sandro, my money's on Oleski. He's the faster driver, I think. Nonetheless, Sandro would love to pick up his 11th career win. and put him in this championship points battle. And Oleski is back to green. He tries to get a jump. That's a good restart by Sandro to try and hang tough with Oleski down the front straightaway. Pokes his nose out, but he's not nearly close enough to make a move. And he's got Tim Ventic all over the back of him. So the top three cars start to pull away. Christian Dorman with another time penalty. Going to be interesting to see how that shakes out at the end of this race. And Sandro Dulius loses a little bit there. We've got a yellow flag, sector 1. Not sure who that was. Was that Dion Stahl? It looks like he's had an incident. And Robin Herderstagen. They're both involved. Oh, and Herderstagen's lost his front wing completely, so he's going to have to make a stop. He's going to lose out big time. Meanwhile, we'll go back to this battle for the lead. That's first, second, third, and fourth there. Second, third, and fourth in frame. Looks like Oleski's starting to pull away. Now, Tim Ventic, if Ventic can get by Sandro, he might be able to make a run at... oh, and Jesper Lempinen is retired from the session. Jesper was running in the 8th spot, and he's done. So that's going to move Dion back into the points along with Jeremy Pope. Jeremy will pick up a point if he can finish this race. And this is turning out to be a race of attrition. We started with 15 drivers. We're now down to 10. As we see Nick Van Gelder in the background there trying to make a move on George Wilkes, or I'm sorry, Christian Dorman for the 5th position. Now, if Tim Ventic can get by Sandro Dulius, he might be able to make a run at Oleski, but that's going to be inconsequential because he's got a time penalty. And it looks like Van Gelder is going to make that move on Christian Dorman. Oh, no. Looks like Nick has lost out on a couple spots. And there is Dorman. Back to this battle for a second. Tim Ventic all over Sandro. He is bringing George Wilkes with him. Trying to keep up with all the action going on around track. Here we go. White flag lap for Oleski as he's coming around the final corner. He'll pick up the white flag. 1 lap to go in what has been an incredible Grand Prix. DRS is enabled after the safety car. So Tim Ventic not able to get around Sandro without the help of the DRS. He's going to have it coming into this short shoot. And Tim Ventic still trying to find his way around Sandro. Right on board. Woo! Remember, Ventic has got a time penalty. Nick Van Gelder picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's multiple time penalties for him. It's going to be crazy to see where some of these guys finish out. There goes Oleski, and here we go. Ventic to the outside. Tries a crossover move. Going to go to the inside. He's not going to try it there. Going to maybe save it for here if he can get the DRS slot open. DRS is open. Down the short chute. Shoots to the inside, and he's going to back off. He's going to let Sandro have it. So here we go. Oleski is coming out of the final corner. He is going to pick up his first win of the season. Put himself in championship contention. Sandro Dulius is going to be second. Tim Ventic third as of now. Let's see where the rest of these guys shake out with all these time penalties to be assessed. Vincenzo just jumped up 4 spots to the 4th position. And here comes Robin Herderstagen. No time penalties for him. Good, clean race. Had a few incidences out on track that he got caught up in. Nothing that was of his own fault, but he is going to come across the line. A good solid ninth position. Followed by Jeremy Pope picking up 1 championship point. Good for Jeremy. At least 1 American scored points today. Woo! What a race. Tim Ventic, driver of the day. Actually, my driver of the day vote's going to go towards Sandro. He had that incident on lap 1 with Nick Van Gelder. He managed to finish on the podium. He didn't have any timing penalties. It was a good comeback race from last week. Sandro's got my vote. Ventic, though, being a reserve driver this year. Not sure if he'll fill in full-time in place of Jur Marusic, since Jur will not be participating in this year's championship. But the talk of today is going to be Oleski with his first win of the season. Puts himself in championship contention with the Logan Arond, who won last week, was crashed out. So Sandro, good to see him on the podium as well. Unofficial results, Oleski is your winner. Sandro Dulius is second. Tim Ventic third. Vincenzo is 4th, George Wilkes is 5th, Christian Dorman 6th, Nick Van Gelder is 7th, Dion Stahl is 8th, Robin Herterstegen is 9th, and Jeremy Pope is 10th. And then 11 through 15, you've got nothing but DNFs. That's Jesper Lempinen, Nico, Senna Haywire, Guillermo Garcia, and Logan Arond. So Sandro on the live chat saying, what a race. Indeed it was, and there will be lots to discuss with the race stewards at the end of this event for sure. So guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Get caught up on all of the previous races. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on the web. And we will see you guys in the next round.